See, guys, so what's new in my day today? I see today I went out with my mum and a friend to a friend's house over there, and we ate some meat. We ate something, and also we were just talking and communicating and stuff like that. But I didn't find much to say around these people that were around me personally. And why didn't I talk to them much? Because I didn't know what to talk about, for example. And when you don't know what to talk about, I realize time flies and time goes quickly. But sometimes it's much better to just be silent. Do you understand? When you're just silent, let them start the conversation with you. Do you understand? Let other people start the conversation with you instead. You don't have to always start the conversation to keep talking. Do you understand? But the thing is that I've always been interested in how other people are able to keep a conversation going in terms of being able to make up something to say for some obvious reason, for some kind of reason, for example. So it's more how I find myself much more silent around other people, but I'm not silent in a way that I stay silent all the time. I ask questions, I get to just ask what people are going through and stuff like that, and I get some questions going. But the thing is that once they answer those questions, I start really backing off. I start backing off in a way that I go silent. And it's not a bad thing, and it's not something that is not a good thing. And so the thing is that you have to realize that if you're going through life, you have to communicate to people. Do you understand? Otherwise, they may perceive you as boring, okay? But the thing is that if they perceive you as boring, then make sure you understand that's none of your business. Realize your business doesn't go by the opinions of other people. So you have to understand that these Germans, for example, they were speaking German in front of me, and they know how to speak English, for example, but they didn't want to speak English for some reason. And what I found myself doing was I just went on my phone instead. You understand? Like they were not engaging me in conversation, for example, and that's something that they have to work on because I'm there as a guest, for example, and it's your responsibility to make sure that people can talk to you, for example. But the thing is that if they don't want to talk to you and they want to talk their own language, then it's their responsibility to talk in English for you so that you can understand. And that's much more of a friendly approach, for example. So the thing is that I'm having a good time at my mum's house, for example, but I understand that soon comes a day where I have to leave my mum's house and I have to go back to Australia for 3 months, and that's going to be a different time with my dad. And I miss being with my dad because it's just a different way of life, for example. So it's much more how I have to do something to succeed. You understand? So I have to keep going with what I do. For example, I have to keep making sure that my life is successful in some kind of regard. And I'm getting my tattoo soon. I'm gonna get the letter L for Lucy, and that's my mother's name. So my mother's name is Lucy. So I'm gonna get the first letter of her name on my on the back of my neck. And yeah, so it's just gonna be a different thing for me to do. So it's much more how I have to realize that there's always something to talk about. Do you understand? But the thing is that I didn't want to come off across as someone who's much more smarter or something like that. I want people to keep guessing, so that's why I keep being silent. You understand? I keep being silent around other people because when you're the loudest in the group, for example, then you're the most stupidest. You understand? Because people don't like people who are the loudest. Okay, you have to understand that. And now it's not that they don't like people who are the loudest, it's just that they get very jealous. Do you understand? So just stay silent, for example. So the most quiet person in the room is the smartest person in the room. You understand? So you just have to understand that. So if you go by that law, I promise you, when you're around other people, be more silent. You understand? Be more silent and be more observing what people are talking about, and be present in the moment. And don't bring out your phone. Don't start doing things on your phone. Just be there. Just be in the moment while they're talking. Just observe. You understand? Just observe everything around you and just be in the moment. You understand? Because if they start saying that you're playing with your phone or that you're doing something on your phone, they're going to disregard you. You understand? They're going to say, oh, this guy doesn't find us interesting. Or this woman doesn't find us interesting. So you have to understand that if you want to go about life in a better way, be more silent and only talk to people when they talk to you first. You understand? When they talk to you first, that is when you talk to them, because that's the most natural way to talk to people. But if you're always starting conversations with people, then you're not being natural. You understand? You're not being natural. Okay, the natural way of life is to make people start conversations with you instead. But of course, if you have a question, for example, or if something arises that you have to know something, okay, then it's not bad to ask a question. You understand? It's not a bad thing to ask a question either. But the thing is that all I'm trying to teach you is that around people, try to be more silent and try to be yourself in the silence. Try to be the silence in between the group. You understand? And that way, you'll find more wisdom in that. So I realize now is a different day. I realize I have about 9 days with my mum over here. I have to go to Mainz. I have to get my tattoo. I realize that's coming up. I realize maybe go for a massage, maybe. And yeah, what can I say? I'm doing good for myself over here as much as I can do. I'm doing it. I'm doing a lot of content. But as I'm going through life now, I realize if I continue to smoke cigarettes and if I continue to drink caffeine, then I'm gonna die early. Do you understand? And I understand that. I realize that the path I'm going on right now is going toward something that's gonna happen to me. You understand? It's like maybe a heart attack or maybe cancer, for example, as an illness. I don't know what's gonna happen because I have not decided yet exactly on my life. But the thing is that I want to teach myself life. I want to teach myself everything that I need to know so that I can do better. But I wish that I was in Australia right now. And then, once I get to Australia, I'm going to see how it is in Australia once again. I'm going to see exactly all my lifestyle needs in terms of what I need to do to get across life in a better way. And it's going to be different. I understand that it's not going to be the same anymore, but I'm going to learn something new this time. I'm going to be a new version of myself. I'm going to do something in a better regard for myself. So, for example, I understand that you have to ask as many questions as possible every single day, asking a lot of questions, getting to know yourself on a regular basis, making sure that you can create something to help yourself grow, and loving life all the time, for example. So you have to understand that if you want to create music or if you want to do something special for yourself, then do it as much as you can, because that's going to help you to grow. You understand? So just compare yourself to yourself, and that's it. So I'm understanding that if you compare yourself to yourself every single day, then you're always better than yesterday in terms of spiritual aspects. You're always doing better than yesterday in your spiritual aspects. So what is there in life? I realize there's spiritual aspects and there's physical aspects. And now you have to realize that the physical aspects of life is dying regardless. You're always dying in the physical realm. You're always dying in the physical realm. But the spiritual realm is growing all the time. Yes, and so once you pass away from this lifetime, all that's going to be left of you is the spiritual aspects of your life. You understand? And you're just going to go out of your body and you're going to either go somewhere in eternity somewhere, or you're going to come back into this life and you're going to be born again. You understand? So it's one of the two. You understand? There's nowhere else to go, for example. Or you're just going to be dead for the rest of your life. So it's not a bad thing to be dead for the rest of your life. You understand? I mean, you have peace and quiet. You understand? You won't exist anymore, for example. But Jesus Christ said that he rise 3 days later. that 3 days later, he risen. He was someone who rised up to the occasion. Yes, and he grew from death. Yes, and so in this life, you're always growing. And nothing ever dies. I don't think that God came into this world for no reason. You understand? I realize you can see that God is the Bible of God. You understand? Because everything formed after that. All the books you ever read in life came from the Bible of God. So the more you can actually grow yourself to become much more magnificent in yourself, making sure you're coaching yourself every single day, doing the best thing you can for yourself in your birthday or whatever it is, making sure that you're living life to the fullest every single day. And that's what you need to do. But the thing is that I find myself over here with my mum sort of limited to the point that I have to stay in my room. I have to stay in the room over here. But at my dad's house, I can go to my dad, sit with him, for example. I can go to my room, I can go to the bedroom, I can go to my dad's room. I mean, I can go to more places in my dad's room, in my dad's house, for example. But my mum's house, I can only do it for the day. Yes, I can go anywhere in my mum's house during the day. But during the night time, I realize it's different. You understand? She doesn't want me walking in the night time anywhere, for example. So it's just going to be different. I realize my life is going to be different in Australia. And I'm going to be working as well, for example. I'm going to find myself a job. I'm going to look for it right away. Hopefully get something like maybe pickpacking, something like that. Something that's easy for me to do. You understand? Depending on what it is, grow myself from it. Do something to help myself. And just make some money on the side. And then come for Europe again. Come to Europe again. Live my life. So my life looks like this. For the next 2 years, I'll be traveling back and forwards from job to my mum. Australia, Germany, Australia, Germany, Australia, Germany. That's how my life is going to look like for the next 2 years. So every 3 months, I travel to Germany and then back to Australia, then to Germany. So I come to Germany, for example, I stay 3 months and then I go back to Australia for 3 months. And then I go back to Germany for 3 months. And then I go back to Australia for 3 months. And then I go back to Germany for 3 months. And then back to Australia for 3 months. And just keep that on repeat. That's how my life is looking like right now. So, very unstable, to be honest. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I cannot guarantee anything. I can guarantee that spiritual aspects of life is going to be always growing. And I understand that. So you have to always do something to help your life to succeed. You have to coach. I realize if I go a day without coaching, I realize it's not me anymore. I am this kind of person now that needs to coach people. I need to be able to coach people to do a better job for myself. And I'll teach you something about music production or music. When you create music or when you listen to music, it actually tunes your brain. Okay, it rewires your brain. And it rewires your brain in a way that it helps your attention and it helps your music helps your music helps your attention span. It helps your cognitive abilities. It helps your memory. It can slow dementia. It can slow diseases. It lowers your blood pressure. It makes you more confident. It makes you more willing to focus. For example, it helps you to aid sleep. So it aids sleep, so you can sleep better when you listen to music. For example, you get happiness from music, for example. That's why I do music production, because it makes me happy. For example, I was showing this guy my music today, and I was not, let's say, I wasn't quite there yet in terms of what I was showing him, in terms of my electronic music. I realize he doesn't understand the type of music I make in terms of electronic music. But I realize that if you want to grow yourself in terms of anything that you do in life, you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere in life. And when you start somewhere in life, you do the best job you can. That's all I can say. So I cannot wait to be with my dad, for example, because I get certain obligations over there. I have certain requirements that I can do over there. Like, for example, go to the shops by myself, or drive a car by myself. I can stay in the house all day. I can drink caffeine till 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I can drink coffee, and I can stay up late. For example, I can do my work in front of my dad, for example. I can watch soccer with my dad. I can do things with my dad, do you understand? So, over here with my mum, I don't get the same opportunities, for example. But eventually, once I move to Germany, then I can go to the shops by myself. I have internet on my own, for example. I can plan my food, plan my meals, for example. And I can do better regardless. Regardless of the situation, I can do better. As long as I have a roof over my head, I'm happy. You understand? But that's how it is. You have to learn to grow with it. You grow with yourself. You grow from the person you are. You understand? You grow every single day, helping yourself grow. That's what you need to do for the rest of your life. But what else didn't I say in life? I said mostly everything that I could say. You understand? There's so much more I can say in life. There's so much more to do. I always find something to do. I find life coaching practices helps me to grow as a person. It helps me to become someone, for example. And I have 50 subscribers on my YouTube account now, for example. And people are listening to me. I mean, people are watching me slowly on YouTube and stuff like that. So it's just the way it is. But you have to learn to grow from who you want to be, for example. Or as if life pushed you, you would have a better life, for example. You have a better life regardless. All you need is someone to motivate you. You understand? You need someone to motivate you. You need a counterintuitive partner in life. You need someone out there who's going to keep you accountable. You understand? That's what you need. So if you ever need that type of person in life, make sure you become that person who's going to be accountable for you, who's going to be responsible for you, who's going to teach you things. You understand? That's what you need in life. So when I'm with my mum somewhere, at a friend's house or something like that, with my mum, I feel like being home. And when I'm home, I just feel like staying home. I don't feel like going anywhere, to be honest. But at the same time, you have to travel. You have to understand how it is to travel. For example, to do things with people. You understand? You have to learn to communicate. And there's nothing wrong with you, I promise you. There's nothing wrong with you. I promise you, many people are going to say how there's something wrong with you in life. I promise you, there's nothing wrong with you. I promise you, if you have cancer, if you have a heart attack, I promise you, if you survive something, I promise you, there's nothing wrong with you in life. Just remember that. But you may have grown up around people who are always calling you a problem, or saying that you have a problem, or that someone may be saying that there's something wrong with you, for example. So You just make sure that you understand that truly there's nothing wrong with you, and that you have no problem in life. And if you do want to quit cigarettes, or if you do want to quit caffeine, you can do it. I've done it many times. So you have to figure life out. You have to figure yourself out. Yes, then you have to do something to succeed every single day, doing something that's going to be worth doing. You understand? When you do something that's worth doing every single day, you're going to be better for it. You're going to do something that's going to be much more successful in life. So that's how you help people. You do something to help people. So I realize every single day that you have to always grow yourself. I realize you have to come back into yourself. You have to be aware of the moment. You have to breathe. You have to grow from it. You have to love your life, for example. You have to understand more. And you have to just be the best version of yourself that you can be. That's all you have to achieve in life, is your best version. And once you achieve your best version, you have to keep it up. You cannot go backwards. You have to keep being your best version in life. I promise you, if you really want to live life. But if you don't want to live life fully, then there's always cigarettes out there for you. There's always alcohol there for you. There's always caffeine and meat there for you. Most people will live life never living fully. Do you understand? Most people go through life never living fully. Do you understand? They never know exactly what they need to do to succeed. And as soon as you tell them what they need to do, they either get arrogant or ignorant about it, or they start cursing you, for example, or they just deny everything you say. You understand? So that's why I be more silent around people. You understand? That's what you need to do. So anyway, guys, I hope that you guys have enjoyed my program here. There's much more to say every single day, so I'm always up for making more programs and stuff like that. But I think this is enough for now, and I see you guys in the next program. See guys, it's me again. Ha 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 ha. I'm joking. I'm honest, but you have to understand that the thing about life is that I'm joking. And the thing is that you have to realize that I just realized something. That the smarter I get, the more silent I have to be around other people. And why is that? Because they don't understand me. They don't understand my words. And they realize, for example, my mum and Toma. My mum and Toma are going out together and stuff like that. And the more I open my mouth around them, the more they say stuff like, don't open your mouth, or be silent, or you don't know how to speak. So it's like they don't appreciate my words. They don't truly capture exactly who I am in terms of life. You understand? I realize they realize that somehow on a spiritual level that we're all connected. You understand? But the thing is that it's much more how I want to be more silent in front of other people. And the thing about my dad, he gives me silence. And it's not in the communication of words between us. It's in the silence between us. You understand? So, for example, my dad is much more silent with me than my mum is with me. So, the thing is that what I want to do is I want to play games with people. And I want to be the most silent always in the group all the time. And I don't want to speak over other people who are talking, for example. And if you speak over other people who are talking around you, it's rude, okay? And why is it rude? Because you're the loudest one in the group. So the loudest person in the group who talks the most words in the group is often mostly the most stupidest one. You understand? But if you're the one who's the most silent, then you are the wisest. Okay, and why is that? Because no one can judge you. Nobody can judge you in terms of words and what you say. You understand? It's what you do that counts. Okay, people judge you by what you do and not what you say. You can say as much as you want, but the thing is that people cannot, I promise you, some people won't believe what you say anymore because it doesn't go with what you do, for example. So that's why I'm very silent around other people. So my mum says, for example, that I don't know how to speak, and Thomas says, for example, my friend, he says to me sometimes that I don't add information to a conversation. But the thing that he doesn't understand is that it's not that I don't add information to a conversation. I try to speak less. I try to speak less in front of other people. So when people are on their phones, what I do is I be present and I go without my phone, for example. And it's much more how I just want to be in the moment and I want to listen more and I want to, for example, finish off the conversation as quickly as possible. Okay? And why is that? Because you have to understand that the thing is that it's much better to be silent around other people because it's less dangerous. Okay, and why is it less dangerous? Because when you're the loudest one in the group, you're often picked out the most in terms of, for example, people start to get angry at you because you're leading the group and because you're talking too much and because you're trying to outsmart people with your words and stuff like that. But you have to understand that nobody understands words. Nobody really understands anything that we say in life. You understand? So the thing is that what you need to be doing in life is you have to be much more silent with the people around you so that you can have a peaceful life for yourself. So try to go away from other people as far as possible, as much as you can, so that you can actually be much more broad around your life so that you can help yourself to succeed even more. So that's what I find interesting. But for example, you have to speak when you have to. Okay, I'm not saying for you not to speak at all. I'm saying for you to speak less. Okay, speak less to other people. Okay, and why is this? Because you're often wise when you are silent. When you give people silence, you give them peace and quiet, you give them much more serenity, you give them much more of a better life. Do you understand? So with Toma, I'm not going to do karate things anymore with him because he's starting a conversation with him and I don't want to start conversations with other people. You understand? I'd rather be silent. And for example, people often remember you by the silence you gave them and not by the words you told them. Okay, you have to understand that people don't remember that much words. Okay, they remember the silence. Yes, and within the silence is all the wisdom in the world. So you have to realize that when you go through life, you have to be someone much more wiser in your ability to speak when you need to speak. Speak when you need to, but don't try to over elaborate about everything. Yes, and because when you over elaborate about things, okay, people may disagree with you, okay, people may have an argument with you, okay, people can drive you crazy, okay, and also people will see how stupid you are also. But if you remain silent and you're the most silent in the group, then you're actually just being yourself. Okay, you're not someone that is a communicator. Okay, you are a communicator through silence. That's what you are. Do you understand? But you have to realize that when you go through life, you have to always do better. So the more you read, the better you are. And you have to understand that I find myself much more curious and interested now in life. And the reason for that is that I feel it. I feel it inside of me that I want to grow. I want to push myself to grow. I want to make sure that I'm always reading something, that I'm reading beneficial stuff that's going to help me to live life. So if that means get my Netflix out or upload content or read some music or go read something, for example, or go do my quotes, for example, or just walk around and just be in the moment and in the present moment, just feeling what I feel in the moment, or breathing and doing some conscious breathing, then that means what that means for me. Okay, that means that I'm going to grow regardless of the situation. And the reason I like to stay up, for example, is because I like to be on my bed. For example, I like to do things with my technology, for example, and I like to get as much content as possible up online as much as I can so that I can live my life to the fullest. Okay? So I'm not trying to chase anything other than my dreams. And I'm just chasing my dreams, but I'm living my dreams right now. I'm living my dreams to some extent right now because I've accomplished some things in my life that I feel proud of. Like, for example, going around Australia, for example, being my best version at one time, for example, and also living up to 30 years of age, for example. And I realized that in life, you don't need a university, okay? I realized you don't need to go to university to live life. You don't need to go to university to make a big salary. I realized many of the billionaires and millionaires these days, they didn't go to university and they became millionaires and they became billionaires and they made big businesses for themselves and they dropped out in year 10. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you have to go to university because your parents want you to. Yes, and what you need to realize is you need to do what's best for you. So, for example, music production and life coaching is best for me. And I'm not getting paid for it, but I'm receiving something else in return. I'm receiving what I give in terms of life. I'm receiving wisdom. I'm receiving a total different policy in life. I'm making sure that I can help myself grow in some kind of way. So I'm trying to do something for myself to grow. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing right about that. Yes, and the thing is that it's just what is. So I have to always develop myself in the best way. But I find myself writing less in my journal these days because I find myself traveling more. And I'm traveling and I'm always thinking on the go and stuff like that. But the thing is that if you want to quiet down your mind, then you just be in your feelings and feel your thinking. And sometimes I forget to feel my thinking. You understand? So, for example, if you be in your feelings and you just feel what you want to say and you feel much more great, and you have to feel great, okay? You have to feel like you're on top of the world, okay? And you have to have that kind of confidence in yourself to embark on a journey. Okay, you have to go somewhere with yourself. You have to live life to the best of your ability. You understand? So, for example, from now on, I'm going to be silent much more often with people around me, and I'm going to speak when I must speak, but not because I want to, for example, make a conversation or something like that. I don't want to make a conversation with anybody. Okay, I want to make sure that I can speak less to people as much as I can so that I can go and succeed much more in terms of what I want to succeed in. But the thing is that all my success that I've ever gotten in my life is because of something I done, and it's not because of other people. Okay? So, for example, other people played a role in my success, but they didn't create my success. So, for example, I'll give you an example. So my mum, for example, paid for my earphones, okay? And I said to my mum, I like these earphones. And she said, I'll buy it for you. And she bought it for me. But the thing is that she played a role in my success and she gave me success, okay? But I created it. I said to her first that I like these earphones, because if I didn't say to her I like these earphones, she would not have got it for me. You understand? So you create your success all the time, and you're always embarking on some kind of journey. You understand? So what I find so fascinating, just like Jim Rohn says, for example, that every day you have to find things fascinating. Do you understand? But what I find fascinating in life is that I have feelings. Okay, I have feelings, and my feelings are always telling me the truth. So, for example, right now, I feel something around my heart. You understand? I feel something around my heart right now, and it's a warning signal. Okay, and maybe that if I continue on this journey that I'm going on right now, I may suffer a heart attack at the age of 60, maybe 70. But the thing is that I'm not going on a good road for myself personally, because I've been smoking cigarettes. And that's it. I promise you, that's all I've been doing. Yes, and just cigarettes. But caffeine is not something that causes a heart attack. Okay, but the thing is that if you drink too much caffeine every single day, it can raise your blood pressure. Okay, so it probably does have some effect on the heart attack as well. So the thing is that what I've been battling my demons, just like everyone else has been battling their demons, for example. So I have to quit smoking, I have to quit caffeine, and I have to be a vegan as much as possible. But the thing is that what I want to do around other people and around people, I want to just speak less in front of other people. I want to do more. Okay, I want to do more as much as I can every single day, making sure that I can pronounce myself in life in a better way for myself. And you have to understand how I started off when I started life coaching, for example. I started reading a script. You understand? And that's how everyone starts, for example. They start reading from something and they're trying to say something, for example, to other people. And it turns out that it doesn't sound like they're passionate about their work. Do you understand? So what I do now is I don't read a script. I read no script when I'm talking out my mind. Do you understand? So when I talk out as much as possible, I speak out in a way that I try to talk more than other people online. But when I talk to other people more online, it's much more, I don't try to go and make a conversation with people online. I just go and upload my content where it needs to go. And that way I find peace and clarity because I don't have to speak to other people. Do you understand? I find peace and clarity like that. But when you are forcing yourself to speak to other people, it's like they have to wait for you, they have to listen to you, they have to do something for you. Do you understand? Because you're obviously asking them for something. So if you're approaching that girl or guy, or if you want the girl's number or something like that, get her number as soon as possible. You understand? Get a number as soon as possible. That's the whole point. You understand? Get their number as soon as possible, because you need to be able to get in contact with her. So, for example, you meet a girl or guy on the bus, and you really want to, let's say, you have interest in them, and you have a little conversation with them, and you get their number. That's how fast you do it. Because if you don't get their number, or if you don't get their details, then the thing is that you might not ever see them again. You know, so obviously the best answer for you is to get their details as soon as possible. But the thing is that the first thing that out of your mouth must not be, hey, can I get your number? But the thing is that you have to realize that it's not that you want to get the number or that you do want to get the number. It's more make a little conversation with them, say, hey, I seen you from over there. Or, hey, I was wondering if you would like to go for a drink. I'm Danny Milivojevic. I am someone in this kind of area. I do this and this. You understand? I find you very beautiful. I realize I'm very shy, but the thing is that I can grow with you and stuff like that. I can help myself to get you stuff that you need. For example, if you ever need a friend, and you have to realize that it's much more how you try to spoil them and stuff like that. And you try to grab yourself some kind of attention from them, and then you just go your own way if it doesn't work out. But if it does work out, then make sure you get the details and stuff like that. But you have to understand that I cannot tell you what to do. I cannot tell you what to say. You have to experiment with yourself exactly that. You have to go out there and you have to experiment with people what works, because not every woman or man is going to say yes to you. But the law of averages says that the more people you approach, the more you'll get your money, or the more you'll get a kiss, or the more you'll get sex, or the more you'll get something. Yes, and so if you approach enough people, you'll get what you want, as long as you approach more people. And so the more people you approach, okay, the law of averages says that you'll get what you want. Okay, so that's what it is. So if you want real estate, you have to search for real estate. You have to start searching for real estate now. And when you get the bargain or when you get the deal, make sure you find someone to pay it off for you. And it's that simple. And then just go and replicate that every single day, and just try to do that for yourself every single day. And yes, and you have to keep trying. You're going to fail many times. I promise you're going to fail many times at this. Yes, and you're going to feel like a loser, like nobody wants to give you money for real estate, do you understand, that you own. But if you have enough confidence in yourself that you can make money on that real estate, and you can show that to someone and you can show them the real way, I promise you, why not? Well, I mean, why wouldn't they say yes? You understand? I promise you, if you can make money on that real estate, or if you can make money for other people in some kind of way, why not show them? Do you understand? Why not go out there as much as possible and try to do that for yourself? But sometimes you have to understand that people don't have the time. I promise you, people don't want to. I realize people are scared. I realize people fear that. I realize people fear confrontation in front of other people. You understand? So there's a lot of things like, for example, there are lots of things in their life that's holding them back. Yes, and so the same as me, for example, with smoking, for example, it's like I want to quit, but I don't want to quit. I want to quit, I don't want to quit. I want to quit, I don't want to quit. I realize it's just me going back and forwards with myself, and then I feel like a failure. Yes, and I feel like a failure, like I'm doing worse than yesterday. Yes, and I'm doing worse than yesterday in my habits. Yes, and I feel like a failure because of that. Yes, and it's like a ton of bricks came on me. Yes, and it feels like that, or as it feels like I feel like heavy. I feel heavy. Yes, and I feel that I'm not myself when I smoke cigarettes. Yes, and I don't feel natural. I don't feel natural. I don't feel like that child that I used to be, that I used to watch everyone smoke and I didn't even touch it, for example. You understand? So the thing about my mum, for example, is she always has money on her. So thank God for that. I'm grateful that my mum has money. I'm grateful that my family has money to some extent. Whereas my dad, whereas I come from a middle class family, you understand? And we're not in the poverty line, but we're just above the poverty, or else we're just above the poverty line. Whereas my mum's more in the middle class area. But we don't go out spending, or else we don't go out fucking eating in restaurants every day and spending all our money, do you understand? Or else we save for a good day, or else we go when we need to, do you understand? Or else we go somewhere, we take ourselves out, but then we save money, do you understand? Because we need money to succeed, you understand? We don't just go spending it, do you understand? So you have to realize that it's not how much you spend, it's how much you keep in terms of money. You understand? It's how much you keep that's gonna build your riches. Do you understand? But the thing is that I realized that Porsche, I realized once you get the Porsche, I realized guess what's gonna happen? I realized that Porsche is gonna deteriorate and you're gonna want something else. Do you understand? Once you have the Porsche, it feels good to have a Porsche. Okay, it feels good to have a Porsche, but what are you really trying to achieve with having a Porsche or having a fast car in your requirements? I promise you, all you're trying to achieve is a feeling of that. You're trying to achieve some kind of feeling that it's going to bring you, okay? That's all you ever want to experience from that. So why not experience it now by trying to tell yourself that, oh, I have that feeling already. I have a feeling right now that I feel like I have a Porsche right now. I feel like it. You understand? I feel like having, I feel like I do have a Porsche. You understand? I feel like I'm $1 million. You understand? That's the kind of feeling you need in your life. Do you understand? So you have to feel good about yourself every single day. And then guess what happens? The universe delivers you what your frequency is. So the higher you raise your frequency, the more riches you have. You understand? The lower you raise your frequency, the more poverty you have. Do you understand? So it's all up to you. On a daily basis, you have to make great decisions. You have to make every single day decisions that's going to help your life. Do you understand? So, for example, if I go a day without life coaching, then I don't know what I'm going to do anymore. I feel like I failed if I don't do life coaching. You understand? I feel that I have to speak. And if they delete my whole account on YouTube, then guess what? At least I tried to do something at my own expense, in my own investment. Yes, and I tried to do something and it didn't work out. But the thing is that it does work out because the thing is that people haven't deleted my YouTube account yet. So the thing is that I'm still alive. Yes, I'm still running my business. You understand? But my business is a free business, and whoever wants to listen to Danny Milivojevic is free to do so. You understand? But I've learned a lot in terms of how to speak to people. I've learned a lot in terms of how to manage my own finances and to manage myself as a person. And not everyone's willing to listen to you. You understand? That's why I just go somewhere away from people, and I start writing. I start doing audio programs. I start doing video programs. I start doing all my life coaching and music production because other people don't want to listen to it. And it's not that other people don't want to listen to it. It's more that the people around me rarely want to listen to it. Yes, and they rarely ask me, like, for example, recently my mum asked me to send her music, but that's like once in a while that somebody asks me to send them music. Yes, and so I'm grateful that my mum was listening to my music in the kitchen while I went to the toilet. Yes, and so she was making cigarettes and stuff like that, and I heard her making music, and I just stepped out and I just looked at her for a bit, and I was like, wow, I mean, I'm glad that she's listening to my music for a bit. Yes, and so it's much more how you have to feel inspired. You have to feel that you're going to do something amazing in this lifetime. Yes, and that's what the whole point of life is, isn't it? You have to stay curious. You have to stay interested every single day. I realize it doesn't matter what time it is. Put some music on. I realize write something down. I mean, push yourself every single day to do something. Yes, and do something that's going to be productive for yourself. I mean, write some quotes. I mean, go and upload your content. I mean, go and watch Netflix. Go watch the images on the Netflix. For example, I just watch images on Netflix really quickly. I have a pen. I have a pen, and I just go with the pen over the Netflix scroll bar, and I just watch the images really quickly. I never watch films on Netflix. I never listen to the audio in Netflix. I just watch the little images that pop up when you're scrolling through Netflix. You understand? So I said that a million times, but every video is different. You understand? So you have to realize that you have to do something every single day that's going to be successful. So be more silent in front of other people is all I'm saying. You understand? So the more silent you are, the better you are. You understand? Because people won't understand you. You understand? They won't understand where you're coming from. Do you understand? They'll say everything about you. They'll say how bad you are. They'll say how worse than yesterday you are. They'll say how you're not good looking. They'll say how ugly you are. They'll say whatever it takes. You understand? They'll say it. You understand? They'll say whatever it is. But guess what? I've realized in the end of the day, be silent to those people. Be silent. And the more silent you are, the better for you. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to succeed. I'm going to make sure I'm going to live my life the best way I know how, and that's it. I know nothing in life. Do you understand? I just go out there and just speak my mind as much as possible, and I just do my life. Do you understand? Or maybe one day I get paid for it. Do you understand? In terms of money, and I get money in terms of awareness. And awareness is money. But the thing is that I have to open myself up to it. I have to open myself up to eventually teaching people. Eventually, if I can, I know I can. I understand I can. But the thing is that I have to do it. But the thing is that I'm doing other things in the moment as well. Yes, and for example, I'm making sure that I can go and do my content for free for now. And I understand that I know nothing. Yes, and so the thing is that I have to grow myself. So if you guys are enjoying my programs, make sure you subscribe. I mean, do that for yourself and make sure that you are learning. Yes, and learn something every day. See, so guys, some people are protesting against me, and I'm not going to mention any names anymore. I've learned in life that throughout life you have to make sure you don't speak about people's lives because maybe they don't want to be talked about. Do you understand? So the thing is that always, if you want to make a point without considering them inside that type of communication. So what I mean is try to speak only of what the truth is. Do you understand? So you're actually telling the truth, but don't mention their names. Don't mention that they're in your life. Don't mention things like about your family members or what happened in life. What you realize about life is speak about things like, for example, you speak about things in a way that people can understand you. But make sure you talk about your life more, and you have to realize that they don't understand, for example. So you say they don't understand me, and the thing is that they don't understand my silence and they don't understand my words. So the thing is that I've been getting some criticism back from people like I've done something wrong, for example. So if you have to understand that I've done nothing wrong in life, I just said the truth, and you have to understand that truth speaks louder than anything in the world. But the thing is that some people who are around me, okay, do not realize, okay, my life. They don't realize what I do, so they say it in a way that they don't understand, and I'm totally okay with that, and I'm not getting angry at anybody. But the thing is that I've been told not to, let's say, speak about other people and their lives. But the thing is that I can speak about whatever I want in life. You understand? I have freedom of speech to speak as much as I want in life, and nobody can take that away from me. Do you understand? So the thing is that what I do, you have to realize that some people are going to have problems with you. They're going to have problems with what you do in life, and that's none of your business. Do you understand? So if they come up to you and say, delete your YouTube channel or delete your content from the internet because of some reason that you spoke out either about them or something like that, in a good way or in a bad way or whatever, you have to understand, don't take your content down. You understand? Make sure that you realize something, that you always speak good of people. You understand? And speak good of people in a way that you're always comparing to everything. You understand? Compare yourself to everything, but compare yourself to yourself the most. And you have to realize that, for example, people around me do not understand my life. They don't understand my silence. They don't understand my words. And there's no saying in terms of life where I'm going to go with my life. But the thing is that, yes, I should be embarrassed about living on the government's payments, for example. I should be embarrassed by that. But the thing is that when I was a little kid, you understand, I was also living on the government's payments. And the thing is that it's different. Everyone thinks of life differently, but the thing is that I won't be on the government's payments for very long. And the thing is that you have to realize that you can laugh at me all you want in life, but I always have something to say. I always have something to do with my life, and it doesn't concern me if you laugh at me or if you don't laugh at me. You understand? The thing is that I speak the truth of everything. So it's going to be a much more different road now for me personally. I realize I have nothing against anyone, just so you understand. But the thing is that people have been coming up to me having problems with me personally because of something I said. You understand? Because they don't want to expose their life. You understand? They don't want to expose their life, but to some extent they are exposing their life to some extent. You understand? So they're exposing their life to some extent, and it's like they're telling me not to expose their life. So they don't make any sense. You understand? They're not making any sense, but at the same time they're making sense as well. You understand? So you have to realize that people can tell me whatever they want in terms of words, and it won't offend me. You understand? So the thing is that if YouTube takes my content down because I said something in life, then so be it. You understand? I'm not gonna fuss over it. I tried to help the universe as much as I could. I tried to give back as much as I could. I tried to describe my life as much as I could. You understand? I realized I just want to help people. You understand? That's my obligation in life. But some people around me disagree with my content and disagree with what I have had to say in my life, and they don't really truly value the things I've said in life. Do you understand? And that's none of my business, to be honest. I realize that's up to them. I don't need them to value my content at all. You understand? I don't need them to say good words about me. I don't need them to say bad words about me. You understand? So the thing is that you have to go through life differently, and you have to realize that if people are saying something in return, if the universe is coming back to you about what you have been saying and what you've been doing in life, and people confront you about they're saying to you, hey, don't talk about their life. You understand? Make sure you understand that. Make sure that you don't talk about their life, and that's it. I mean, some people like to be private about their life. You understand? So the thing is that if you want to really expose yourself fully, expose yourself to the best point that you can every single day. But the thing is that the truth is the truth. You understand? So if you're exposing the truth, some people are not going to like the truth. They're not going to like, for example, speaking out about life. You understand? They're not going to like you speaking about them. You understand? Personally, even if you say good things about them, they won't necessarily, let's say, like it. You understand? They won't like, for example, for you to even mention their words or mention their, let's say, photos on the internet or whatever. You know, so the thing is that it comes to the inclusion. I come to the point in my time where some people around me want me to delete their photos and stuff like that off the internet because they're very close to me and stuff like that. And you have to realize that the thing is that I have to say it like that. Yes, I have to say that they're very close to me. I mean, I cannot say that they're not close to me. You understand? So it's more, I'm not going to mention who or what, but I'm just going to say that I'm going to ask them, do you want me to delete your photos off the thing because I can do it? And if they say yes, delete it. I promise I'll go in my Mega Drive. I'll delete every fucking photo of you in my Mega Drive. It's no problem. You understand? I have no problem with that. You understand? The thing is that I realize it's much more how people don't want to be exposed at all. You understand? So you have to realize that when I talk about people, I say the truth. You understand? And some people don't like the truth. You understand? They don't like the truth of what's said. So the thing is that some people around me want me to stay on the medication for longer. Yes, then they realize they want me to be on medication for longer. So yes, I'm on medication. The psychiatrist is giving me medication at the moment to calm me down and stuff like that. But the thing is that I'm still going to speak out. I'm still going to do my work as much as I can. And if people don't appreciate my content, I realize if the universe doesn't appreciate what I give out in terms of my YouTube account and in terms of my Instagram, then I'll just delete everything and I'll keep to myself, and that's it. You understand? So I realize that the universe already has all my content. You understand? The universe doesn't need my content for anything. You understand? But the thing is that I'm just going to realize something, that I'm just going to continue doing my work in terms of life, and I'm going to have to find either new passions to do something different for myself or help myself in a different manner. But it's a good thing that the universe is actually acknowledging me today, and it's saying, hey, we hear you out, we understand what you're saying. You understand? So the thing is that I have nothing against anyone. Like I said, I realize if you follow my content every single day and what I do every single day, for example, then you understand me. Like, yes, I made mistakes. You have to understand, I'm just like everybody else. I'm not perfect. You understand? Yes, I talk bad about people in some type of life that I had in my life. Before in my life, I used to say things about people, you understand, that were negative. I was like that. But the thing is that you have to realize that I'm not like that anymore. And you have to realize it's much more how when these people come up to me and they say, oh, but you spoke this about me and you said this about me and you said that, I realize I just spoke words. I mean, why does that offend you? I mean, why does it offend you that I speak so much publicity, that I public everything about my life? You understand? I public my whole life. You understand? Whoever's interested can always go and see my life. You understand? But they're saying to me, hey, don't publicize my life. You understand? You publicize your life, but don't publicize mine and what I do. You understand? But the thing is, like, it's like, for example, they're saying to me, don't even talk about me. Don't talk about me at all. You understand? So the thing is that it's much more how it's much better to just never speak about those people at all. You understand? Because they don't want to be spoken about. They want to be the silence. You understand? So it's much more how you have to realize that life is different. I'm sick as a human being, so I have a mental illness. You understand? But the thing is, at the same time, I don't have a mental illness, and I'm not sick as well. And you have to realize everyone's sick. You understand? Everyone has a mental illness. You understand? But at the same time, nobody has nobody has a mental illness. You understand? So you have to realize that you need to go your own separate way every single day. You have to do things on your own accord. You have to realize that you have to talk as much as possible. And yeah, I went that path of talking about people, for example, in a good way and in a contradicting way. You know, I talked about people in a contradicting manner, and suddenly people who were coming up to me, for example, because I was talking about them in a contradictory way, is just about different things. You understand? Different things. So you have to realize that if a person chooses to speak about anything about life, I promise you, don't they have a right to do so? I mean, if they choose to speak about anything and everything about life, don't they have a right to speak out whatever they want in life? Yes, and that's the thing. I realize if you want to speak about whatever it is that comes to your mind, I mean, don't you have a right to speak about that? Do you understand? So some people are trying to block me from speaking to some extent. But the thing is that you cannot, let's say, prevent me from speaking. You cannot prevent my life from manifesting. You understand? So people around me are not happy. They're not happy, and is that my problem? I promise you, no. That's not my problem. You understand? The thing is that you're responsible for your own happiness in life. You understand? So the thing is that if you see that people need help, go and help them before they ask you. You understand? So the thing is that you just ask them, do they need help? But the thing is that if you're minding your own business, for example, the thing is that you have to realize it's more how certain people came up to me recently and said, hey, I cleaned the back of your car, yes, or something like that. Or it's much more how I want to make a point. Yes, I want to make some points. So if someone is cleaning the car and you sit at the back of the car, for example, then make sure you clean up after yourself and stuff like that, or wash the car yourself. You understand? Or try to put your hand up to wash the car yourself or something like that, and realize that people are just like that. They want you to, for example, be good with yourself, but at the same time people don't think good about you. Do you understand? So the thing is that you have to realize that everyone thinks good about you to some extent. You understand? But people are just not as aware as me personally. So today I realized I don't feel like going for a walk somewhere to the boat over there, because there's a nice beautiful boat where there's a restaurant. And it's not that I have no one to go with. I realize it's not about that. I realize I just don't feel like going, because certain situations in my life where I'm happening to be in my life, I have something different to do in my life, and life is going its way. I mean, I'm not complaining about life, but certain people in my life don't think that I'm grateful. They don't think I'm grateful for the things that I have, but I'm grateful. And when I say I'm grateful, they don't believe me. So what do I say? I mean, when you say you're grateful to someone and they say, I don't believe you, I mean, what can you say to that? I mean, you understand? I mean, you just have to let it be, don't you? You have to let it be, and you have to do your own things. You understand? So it's more how, if people don't believe that you're grateful, let them be, let them think what they want to think, and the universe will give you what you deserve. You understand? So the universe knows that I'm grateful. You understand? Like God knows that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everything I have. I understand I have more than other people, for example. You understand? I understand that in life I get what I deserve. You understand? I deserve what I have in life. And I've gotten life for free, for example. Life has been given to me for free. You understand? I deserve my life. Do you understand? So the thing is that if many people around your life don't make you feel that they love you, then don't kill yourself. You understand? Don't kill yourself. Make sure that you understand that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So make that as your primary meditation every single day, to just go and do what you do. So make sure that, for example, from now on, in my life, for example, I'm not going to speak about what I do to close family members or people around me, in terms of not people around me. I'm just not going to speak about things around what I actually do to people around me. But the thing is that at the same time that I'm going to say, it's much more how people are trying to complicate things in my life. You understand? They're trying to make me more complicated. You understand? I realize it's maybe like, for example, the universe is saying, hey, be much more simple, for example. But the thing is that I'm not mentioning anybody. You understand? So it's much more how, if I choose to speak about something in my life, I have a right for that. You understand? I realize I speak because I want to teach people about my life. I want to teach people about everything. You understand? I'm not talking negatively about anything. You understand? I'm just talking. But the thing is that you have to go your own way. You understand? You have to realize that if I lose things around my life that don't make any sense to me personally, that doesn't fulfill me, then the thing is that I'm always going to find something else that is going to fulfill me, for example. Do you understand? So apparently people are going to go out there and report me, for example. They're going to report my YouTube channel because I've been speaking a lot of words and stuff like that. And go for it if you think that's the best thing to do for you personally. Then I don't know what to say about that. But the thing is that it's much more how, if you're going to report me, then just go report me. If you're not going to report me, then I thank you very much, because you have to realize that it's much more about the truth. You understand? I speak the truth. I mean, that's all I've been saying. You understand? I've been speaking the truth and nothing else. You understand? So I realize people cannot take the truth. They cannot, let's say, open up to the truth. You understand? So I realize that people just make problems out of nothing. You understand? They're making problems out of my life. You understand? I realize like I'm this massive problem in life. You understand? That they're trying to solve. So it's like I'm that kind of rat in a test lab. Like always things around me, always testing me. Do you understand? Always putting some medication into me, making me do things that I don't want to do, for example. So for example, if I want to speak out for as long as I want, I have a right to do so. You understand? If I choose to speak about someone in a contradicting way, then I choose to do that. You understand? The thing is that it's like people don't want me to speak in a contradictory manner. I mean, people don't want me to grow to some extent. Do you understand? It's like people are trying to cut me out to some extent. Do you understand? They're trying to, let's say, do things to me. Do you understand? But the thing is that I'm not paranoid. I realize everyone loves me. Do you understand? Everyone loves me. And the thing is that it's much more how I was just speaking in terms of how people are. Do you understand? So you have to realize that nobody's against you. I realize nobody's against you in life. I realize nobody is against me in life personally. I realize it's just an exchange of words. You understand? That's all it is. You understand? I don't find that people are against me right now. I find that people at the moment may be angry at me at the moment. I don't know. But the thing is, I'm just going to live my life. And that's it. You understand? So I realize I have massive respect for people. You understand? I have massive respect for people. I do my own things according to how I need to do it. And I'm just trying to teach. I mean, why does the universe have to tell me that, for example, to show me that, for example? But maybe the universe is trying to teach me something, yes. And so I'm always that type of person that wants to see much more broader about life. So I want to see much more about what I can say and what I can do to live my life. See, so here I am, guys, now doing my own life over here, and the thing is that I have some new information that I want to give today. So I've been finding myself more attractive these days because I've been speaking much more Serbian. And now the reason I speak Serbian much more is because I want to learn the language, first of all. And when I speak more English, I want to learn the English language much more, for example. So you have to understand that the more you speak a certain language, the more you learn it. And the best way to speak a certain language is to write down all the thoughts based on that subject. So for example, if you want to learn Serbian, then you keep writing Serbian in your journal. And the more you write in your journal Serbian letters and words, the more you understand Serbian. But for example, for myself, I'm Serbian and Croatian, so I write in Serbian Croatian format. And also you have to understand that I write English. And now I have a writing journal, and the more I write in my journal, in either language that I speak, for example, so if I speak English, for example, and the more English I speak, for example, in my journal, I write it down on my inside of my electronic phone. And you have to understand that because I write things down in my electronic note system in my phone or my notes application, I write things down inside of a notes application in my phone. In terms of I do it in Serbian and English, and that way I learn more. And because I learn more, I grow from it. You understand? So all I'm saying is just keep writing more. I promise you, the more you write down words, the more you learn words. You understand? That's what I'm saying. So if you want to learn anything about life, you have to realize that you have to detach. You have to start detaching from life. So detaching from conversations, detaching from people. You understand? You have to start really going your own way. You understand? Because you have to realize that it's either you detach from certain people and certain events and stuff like that, or you're going to be detaching anyway, regardless. So you're always going to be detaching to some extent. You're always being a person in life who's going to be detaching from some kind of point of view. Yes, and so the thing is that I'm not saying hold your emotions in. I'm making sure that you understand you have to express yourself as much as possible, but you have to express yourself to yourself the most. And the more you express yourself to yourself the most, the better you are and the better you do life and the more you do, for example. So you have to realize that, for example, because I express myself a lot in terms of what I do, in terms of my language and my skills and stuff like that, I have a lot of things to say. You understand? And that's why I'm so interesting, because I find myself interesting. And now you have to realize that people around me don't find me interesting. You understand? They don't find me interesting, but they don't know how to talk to me. You understand? They don't know how to talk to me properly. You understand? So the thing is that you have to realize that it's more how it's misinformation. You understand? So you have to realize that if I had someone just like me around me every single day to motivate me and to give me the words that I need to tell myself and stuff like that, I would find myself. And that's what I am here to do. Yes, I'm here to motivate myself. I don't need another version of me in the world. Yes, and because that's me. Yes, and I have me already inside of me. So I can use my own motivational power to keep exploring myself, to keep giving words, to keep making sure that I can live my life to the best of my ability. Yes, and so the interesting thing about life is that when I was younger, and I'm still young, I'm still younger than ever. But the thing is that you have to realize I'm younger spiritually than ever before. You see, I'm more young now than I was ever before in terms of spiritual format, but my physical format is getting older. Do you understand? So you have to realize that I have to start getting a young body. For example, I have to look young in terms of my physical health has to look young, and also my spiritual health. And that's the only way of life. Do you understand? So you have to realize that when you are giving an audio program talk or something like that and you're on your bed, you can go and lie front face forward while you're speaking to the video camera or audio camera or whatever you're doing in terms of audio programs or video programs. Or you can cover yourself with a blanket and just speak audio programs all day long. Yes, and that's what I do. I'm on my bed right now. I covered myself with a blanket. I'm laying face forward, and you have to understand that I'm having a good time. So it's been a while since I made a audio program, for example, and the reason for that is because I have been doing things in terms of my life where I've been doing something different for myself every single day, learning, and just experiencing new things for myself. But when people are getting angry at you, just ignore them. Say ignore angry people. Don't go to someone when they're angry. They don't know what they're doing. You understand? They don't know what they're saying. And you have to understand that, for example, it's much more how that you have to speak in terms of life, in terms of don't involve other people inside of your talk. Yes, and don't go talking about other people and their personal lives. Yes, and because if you talk about their personal life, it's like maybe they don't want you to speak about their personal life. Yes, and so it's much more how you have a right to speak about whatever you want in life. Yes, and so you have to realize that Jesus Christ spoke about people and stuff like that, but nothing bad. He was telling the truth the whole time. Yes, and you have to be telling the truth all the time. Yes, and you say it like it is. But some people don't like that. Yes, and you have to realize if you start talking about people's lives and you start really, really nailing into everything they do and why they do it and stuff like that, you have to understand that they may get offended by you. Yes, and they may even break your laptop. They may break your electric phone, for example. You understand? So what I suggest is speak in overall terms and conditions. Yes, and speak in overall terms. So if you're speaking about anger, speak about anger in overall terms and what people can do about anger and stuff like that. But make sure you understand that if you're involving your personal life in terms of life to the public, you understand what's going to happen. I promise you, either people are going to laugh at you, I promise you they're going to laugh at you about your personal life, or what's going to happen is people can admire you for who you are as well. Yes, and so you have to realize that I spoke a lot about my personal life because I watched other people talk about their own personal lives. Yes, and I admire that. I admire people's experiences. Do you understand? So I started to identify myself with this story about myself. Yes, and that's my ego. Yes, and always talking about this was me, this was me, this was me, but I was only telling the truth. Yes, I was telling the truth. But you have to realize that sometimes I don't know what I'm saying. Yes, I don't even know what I'm saying in terms of words. But that's a spiritual way. Yes, and so you have to realize that in life you have to detach, but you have to write down your feelings as much as possible. You have to keep writing. And the more you write, the more you find your way, the more you find special regards to what you want out of life. Yes, and the more you'll go different places and see different things and enjoy life and make sure that you're learning and growing and stuff like that. But you'll find that you need to be interesting in life. Do you understand? So the more interesting you are, the better for you. You understand? But when you're around people, what I choose to do for myself personally is I choose to be quiet. Yes, and I don't want to be the loudest person in the room. Yes, I want to be the quietest person in the room. And why do I want to be the quietest person in the room? Because it takes less work for me to do that. You have to understand what it's not that it takes less work for me to do that. What this means is that I'm much more present and just observing people. Yes, I'm just observing and I'm just like, yep, you guys are very interesting. But the thing is that what I do is I keep a positive mindset. I don't go telling people that they're shitholes or assholes and stuff like that. I don't do that anymore. Do you understand? And the thing is that I've changed. But you have to realize that some people have a negative view of me. But because they have a negative view of me, it's because they have a negative view of themselves in some kind of way as well. In a sense, if you think of people negatively, then you will also think about yourself negatively as well. In a sense, so if you think of people positively, then you'll also be positive in your life. So what you are is what you think. You understand? So most of the day, I'm always positive. Yes, I'm always positive. And that means that when I'm positive, I'm happy. Yes, and nothing can get to me. I mean, I'm much more strong like that. And because I do a lot of audio programs and stuff like that, it helps me to organize my thoughts. Yes, and I organize myself around what I want to do with my life and stuff like that. I organize myself around helping myself do everything that I want to do with myself, for example. And you have to realize that's the thing about me. So the thing is that I involved my personal life in my strategy for life, for example. But you don't have to do that. You know, I did that for myself to find out what I can do. But I don't mind people knowing about my personal life. You understand? But if you go around talking about other people's personal lives, then you have to understand that that person can come up to you and report your YouTube channel. For example, they can report your YouTube channel. They can report your content online that you posted about them. You understand? And then YouTube's going to delete your whole account maybe because you were talking about other people's personal lives. You're getting into their personal life. You understand? But you're only stating the truth. You're only speaking the truth. Do you understand? But they don't understand that. They don't understand that it's the truth of what you see. For example, you understand? And then they read one video that you spoke about them, and because you spoke one video about them, they didn't see the other videos that you spoke about them, and then they get a negative view about you. You understand? So you have to realize that you keep other people's personal lives to themselves. I mean, if they don't want to be exposed, make sure that you don't go trying to expose them. You understand? Try to expose yourself. Try to expose yourself even more. Try to worry about yourself even more than other people. You understand? And never worry at all. Don't start worrying about yourself. But all I'm saying is focus on yourself and your life more than other people's lives. So don't go saying, oh, my mum said this and my mum said that and my dad said this and this is how my dad is and this is how my mum is and this is how this is. I mean, you have to realize that the thing is that it's information and it can help. Yes, and the thing is that maybe they don't want you to say that. Maybe those people in your life, like your family members, don't want you to speak about them at all. You understand? So if you go to your mum and dad and you say, is it possible to make a YouTube channel around your life where I can expose your total life and tell people how you really are? I mean, guess what? I promise you 99% of the time, they're going to say no. Do you know why? Because they're scared. They fear life. They fear what people think of them. Do you understand? So the thing is that if you don't want arguments in your house, you understand, then the thing is that what I suggest is lay off talking about your parents. Lay off talking about, for example, anything about other people's personal lives. Yes, and if you're going to talk about something, for example, say for example your mother got angry, then make the topic anger problems, for example, and just talk about anger problems, about how people have anger problems, for example. And your mum's not the only one, your dad's not the only one that has anger problems, you understand? So what you can say is, there was a situation in this person's life where this person got angry because this person was doing a certain thing, you understand, and he was silent or she was silent, and all of a sudden his mum or dad got angry, you understand, And you just give stories like this. It doesn't have to be about your personal life. You can tell it in stories about something different. You can mention other people that don't exist. Yes, and try to make up something so that it doesn't reform or doesn't inform your personal life. And not your personal life, other people's personal lives. Do you understand what I mean? So you have to realize that that's what I'm talking about. So what you realize about life is that you move on very quickly. You understand? But if I don't keep doing life coaching on a daily basis, then I get lost. You understand? I start to get really slow about what my communicational style is. And now you can understand that I'm very intelligent in terms of my communication. I'm very interesting. I can keep the conversation going in an audio program. For example, some people can't do that. You understand? You have to realize that other people don't have that type of skill set to be able to get on an audio program and video program and talk for 1 hour long and be able to interest the audience the way I do, for example. I know that to be true, you understand? But the thing is that I know nothing, you understand? But the thing is that it matters what you say. And it matters that you put your thoughts out there, you understand? And when you put your thoughts out there, people can be valued upon that. You understand? You can value people upon that in terms of people can value you upon you giving your thoughts. You understand? So the thing is that I don't believe anything in this world other than Jesus Christ. Do you understand that? I don't trust anything other than the Bible in life. You understand? When I trust the Bible, I trust the Bible only. You understand? Everything else is just a side hustle. You understand? So that's my information, and that's just secret wisdom that I have accumulated in my life, that I believe nothing of this world. If someone tells me Bitcoin is the best investment, I don't believe them. Just because they're making millions on it, I don't believe them at all. You understand? So I don't. You have to understand that there are plenty of scammers out there telling you Bitcoin is the way, cryptocurrency is the way, real estate's the way. I promise you, I only look at what Jesus Christ said. Do you understand? So Jesus Christ said, never own anything of this world. Never own Bitcoins. Never own real estate. You understand? You don't need it. You know, Jesus Christ told you in the Bible 2,000 years ago and more. You understand? Never own anything of this world. So why should I go out there purchasing mortgage rates and getting myself into real estate, for example, to accumulate more real estate? I mean, what's it going to do for me? It's only going to give me more money. You have to understand that a certain amount of money, after a certain period of time, like for example, they say that $70,000 in your bank account is the equivalent of you being at your happiest. You understand? And anything that's above $70,000 a year in income doesn't make you any more happier. And you have to understand that money doesn't make you happy. Money alone doesn't make you happy. I promise you, you yourself make you happy. Happiness is an inside job. You understand? Happiness comes from the inside. So what you realize about life is that nothing outside of you can make you happy. Nothing outside of you can make you happy. Only inside, in terms of whatever's happening inside of you right now, can make you happy. So only you can make yourself happy. You understand? I mean, there's people out there who says, for example, there are people out there who believe that money makes them happy. But money doesn't make anyone happy, okay? I promise you, what money does, for example, is it can get you out of a 9-to-5 job. It can give you more time, freedom. It can give you, for example, clothing. It can give you food and drink. It can definitely smoothen the road for you. You understand? And it's like even Zig Ziglar said that money is up there with breathing. It's like a necessity. You need it in life. You need money to survive. You understand? But you don't need money to be happy. Do you understand that? I promise you, poor people can be happy. Poor. Do you know what happiness is to me, personally? When you have 10 family members you have 10 family members, and you are all eating in the same room on a table somewhere, and you're a family, and everyone's talking, you understand? And you're all together, and you're very close to each other. You understand? You're very close to each other. And where's the money there? You understand? I mean, there's no money there. It's just family members, man. But that's happiness. You understand? I'd rather have family than money. You understand? You have to realize that. So you have to realize that there's always something to talk about. You understand? So the more you talk about life, the more life happens. So, for example, there are people out there who don't speak much English, for example. You understand why? Because they don't practice English. They don't practice the language. They don't practice things. So everyone has a special skill. So what is your special skill in life? What makes you bounce in life? What makes you passionate? And so, for example, I've been making jazz music recently. And what you can do is you can sign up to Wiki Music or something like that. I'll find the track for you. I'll find the website for you very soon. And you sign up to this website, and you pay 15 euros a month, okay? And you have a full-length track of drums, just drums. This guy playing drums for 5 minutes, for example. And then you can go get yourself a guitar, just a guitar melody. Yes, and then this guitar melody goes for 3 minutes. And then also you can get yourself vocals. You can get yourself anything you ever want in jazz music, and you can put it together. And you can also go on a website somewhere, and you can give other people money to play a certain kind of melody to your song. Yes, and so you can make it unique and stuff like that. And it saves me money. Yes, and it saves me a lot of money. So the thing is that, I mean, what's a lot of money? You have to realize that the thing is that it saves me enough money, you understand, to live. And I have enough money to live life. You understand? So that's the thing about life. I learned recently that it's not about living the richest life, and it's not about living the poorest life. It's about living in the middle somewhere. Yes, and you have enough to live. You have enough money. You have enough cars. You have enough houses. You have enough money. You have enough resources. You have enough clothes, for example, to live life. You have enough beds in your house. You have enough roofs over your head. You have enough everything. Do you understand? You have enough. Apparently, you don't need more. Do you understand? Apparently, for example, there are many people out there, for example, like chasing real estate. For example, they're chasing real estate for more money. I mean, what's the purpose? I mean, what's the purpose of that? I mean, what's your purpose for getting more money in life? You understand? I mean, don't you have enough already with the real estate? You have you have to realize that it's much more how there is many people out there who have 8,000 real estates in life, 8,000 units of real estate. I mean, why do you even need that much units in life to live life? Do you understand? I mean, these people are obsessed with this kind of real estate game. Do you understand? And you have to realize that it's much more how it's better to have more than less in life. I realize that. But it's better to have enough than more. You understand? It's better to have enough than more. You understand? It's better to have enough than less in life. You understand? So what spectrum are you on? Are you on the less side, or the more side, or the enough side? You understand? I'm in the enough column. I have enough. You understand? I have enough. I have enough to live life. You understand? And I always find that to be true. You understand? I have resources now, that I have skills and techniques right now that I can use to lift myself to go to greatness, to do whatever I need to do to live my life. Do you understand? And the thing is that I don't do life coaching for anyone except for myself. You understand? And you have to realize why. I did it because I do life coaching because it teaches me something. Yes, and it teaches me how to talk. It teaches me how to pronounce my words. It teaches me to have an interesting conversation. It teaches me to give as much as possible. It teaches me to be important. It teaches me to give everything that I can. It teaches me to give ideas. It teaches me to, for example, to speak my language better, to have better language skills. You understand? So the thing is that I become much more professional in life coaching. Yes, and that's how I learn. Yes, and the more music I do, the better music artist I am. Yes, and the more life coaching I do, the better life coaching I am. The better life coach I am. And now I'm not a qualified life coach. Yes, and I'm not a qualified life coach. I'm not certified. Okay, I'm not certified. I just choose to be a life coach. I realize if someone asks me in life, what do I do for my life? I mean, if someone asks me what do I do for a living, I tell them life coaching and I do music production. Yes, and that's it. That's what I say. That's what I really do for a living. Yes, and that's my living. Yes, and if they ask me how do I make money on it, I promise you, then I answer. It's much more how I answer. I make money in every single kind of way from it. I make consciousness from it. I make love from it. I make confidence from it. Actually, that's my money. Yes, and so the thing is that it's much more how you have to realize that there's something much more special than money in life, and it's breathing, and it's being able to speak words, and it's being able to give, and it's being able to receive, and it's being able to detach, and it's being able to express yourself. Yes, and that's even more than money in life. So you have to realize that if you want to go through life happening to be a better person, then you have to do things to be a better person. Yes, and you have to boost your attitude. And now there was a time in my life where I wasn't much more of, I wasn't much of a great attitude to be around. Yes, and I see that. I see why people didn't want to hang around with me. Yes, and I see that. Yes, and I see exactly why people didn't want to hang around with me. I was a drug addict. Okay. I was very stupid to be around. I wasn't reading books, for example. I was a dropout. I wasn't a dropout. I was jigging school. Yes, I was drinking. I was doing drugs, for example. I was drink driving, for example. I was fighting with people. Yes, and I was doing stupid things. And I was swearing at people. I was doing all this kind of stuff. I was doing things that I was unaware about. You understand? And I had some women in my life as well that I made mistakes with, and they didn't want to be with me either because I was not ready for them, and I wasn't in that space of mind to be with them. You understand? So the thing is that even today, you can see, for example, with my life right now, that no woman's in my life for a reason. Yes, and I didn't speak those words yet. I didn't speak the words for that yet. Yes, and I didn't say for that to come into my life yet. Yes, and so you are what you attract. Yes, and so you're attracting all the time your life. Yes, and you're attracting everything in your life. And it's always going to be exactly with what you want out of life. So if you speak the words of that, then you're going to get that. But you're going to have to do some physical work. You're going to have to do some logical work, spiritual work, emotional work, physical work. Yes, and you're going to have to do mentally good for yourself. And you're going to have to get educated. Yes, and the more educated you are with self-education, the better you are. Yes, and so you have to read a lot. I've read over 5,000 books in my life. Over 5,000 books. Yes, and that's not much, to be honest. That's not a lot of books. You understand? So you have to realize that I have to read much more than that. You understand? But the thing is that I start to educate somewhere along the lines that when I was reading so much more in my life, I was devoting so much more time to myself. Yes, and there was a time where I wanted to go out with people, but I wasn't my best looking. I wasn't at my best version. I didn't feel good enough to go around people. You understand? I didn't feel good enough to be around other people. You understand? I was feeling insecure, like I wasn't good enough. You understand? And then I started to read. I started to be an introvert much more. And because I started to be an introvert, I started to have less friends around my life. I started to be a loner. I started to get depressed. For example, I started to accumulate mental illness because I was doing drugs as well. In a sense, so that's what my life was like. And then what changed? I realized I started to push myself to read, started to educate myself slowly. And then I started to write here and there. And then I started to do videos. Then I started to do my music production again. I started to do my videos again because I stopped for a while to do my videos. And the thing is that I stopped doing my videos, I stopped doing music production and live coaching for about 2 years in between because I had no passions. All I was doing was reading for 2 years. You understand? I was just reading, I was just bludging. I was just bludging and doing nothing. You understand? That was my life. You understand? And I didn't know any better. You understand? I was not ready. I was really mentally ill. You understand? And you have to realize that suddenly when I found myself at poker one day, I was like, wow, I can't even talk to people. You understand? But at that time, I see what that is now. I see at the moment, I see in that moment, I didn't have to speak a word. I can just be silent. And that's the strongest path when you're just silent. You don't have to socialize with people if you don't want to. You can be a total loner in life. Yes, and that's a totally okay thing. Yes, and you don't have to be ashamed about that. But the thing is that I can have lots of friends. Yes, and I can have a lot of friends in life. It's no problem. Yes, and I have no problem in having friends in life. But I don't need them in my life. I don't need friends in my life. Yes, then I have myself. I have myself. I am my only friend in life. Yes, and I am my only friend in life. I am my only true friend in life. Yes, and I've given more for myself than anybody else has given me in life. Yes, and so you have to realize that God gave you the most. Yes, and God's your only loyal friend in life. And your only true friend is God. Yes, and so you have to realize that if you really want to help yourself to do better or whatever you're doing in life, you have to really, really understand your path. Yes, and you have to understand exactly where you want to go with your life and what you want to do with your life. Do you understand? So if you understand that nobody's against you, you have to realize that schizophrenics always think that people are against them. You understand? They always think people are against them. Like, for example, I recently got angry at my dad and I was thinking that he's gonna kill me. Yes, and I was paranoid. Yes, and that's why I got on a medication again. They put me on medication again. And that's why I'm a bit more chubby now because I'm on medication. Yes, and so hopefully they drop my medication again and that I never have to be in that position ever again to get angry like that ever again. Because once you get angry, you don't even know what's happening in life. You're not conscious that you're angry. Yes, and anything can happen in that moment. Yes, and you lose control. Yes, and have you ever lost control in life? Have you ever got angry and lost control, total control of yourself? I mean, yes, and that's how it was with me, with my dad. But I didn't go kill him or anything, but I could have. I realized if I was really mentally ill, I could have got that knife that was in my bedroom. I could have gone and stabbed him easily. Yes, and but I called the cops. I was very scared. I was frightened. I was really scared for my life because I thought my dad was going to kill me. Because I took the knife off him for example, and he was searching for the knife like a tiger. You know what I'm saying? Searching for that knife really, really like a lion, like a tiger. You know what I'm saying? Like he wants to know where the knife is, like he's gonna kill me. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that I got really paranoid, and that's why I got sick. And I was not sick. I mean, you have to understand, I was just paranoid. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that I didn't realize that. But all that someone has to say to me is, Danny, just make sure you understand something. Make sure that you never think that other people are against you in any kind of way. Yes, and that's that's all I needed someone to tell me in that moment. But they put me on medication. Yes, and so that's life. I mean, life is unfair like that. Yes, and sometimes unfortunate things happen to good people. Yes, and so you have to realize that you have to go on with life anyway, and you have to make up a life. You have to make something work for yourself. You understand? So I understand that work in the 9 to 5 job is in my path. I understand that. I have nothing against that. You understand? I'm more than willing to work a 9 to 5 job. You understand? I'm more than willing to do that. And you never know where you can go in life. Do you understand? You can never know where you're going to go in life. But you have to realize that if other people don't believe in your work, you understand? Apparently, if other people don't believe in what you do, then no amount of words that you can say to them will ever change their mind. Yes, and so never try to explain yourself to people who cannot understand you and your words. I promise you, some people won't understand your words, and they won't understand your silence either. And those are the crazy people. Yes, and they're really crazy. They're really mentally ill. They're mentally ill people. They don't understand your silence when you're silent, and they don't understand you when you're talking as well. Yes, and that's mental illness. Yes, then. So you have to realize that everyone's gone different paths in life. And there are billions of paths in life. Yes, and there are many paths in life that you can choose to go in. You just have to find your own way, where you want to go. But the only way you can do that is through talking words. And the more you talk words in life, the more you lift your consciousness. In a sense, the more you raise the frequency of your life that way. That's what you have to realize. So anyway, guys, I hope that you guys have enjoyed my program here. I am very glad I've done this program for myself today so that I can learn something from my life. And I just put, like, for example, I put 48 hours into 37 minutes so that you guys can understand something about my life and stuff like that. But now I don't go mentioning people's personal lives, for example. Yes, I don't mention people's personal lives at all in terms of my audio programs and video programs, because I've learned that maybe people don't want you to talk about them. Yes, and so if you talk about it in an overall matter, yes, and is much better for people to understand this way. Yes, and so anyway, guys, thank you very much, and see you guys in the next program.